and welcome to our ViewSonic training. So these are our smart boards that we are going to be utilizing this fall in many core areas. I'm very excited to do so. What we are going to do in this video series is give you a series of ideas and concepts that you can apply to these boards that will make teaching with them a breeze. So we are going to go over the basics of how to use the smart boards, how to use the myViewBoard dashboard, which is online, and we can get that right here on the smart board and utilize it in the classroom, as well as many of the other tools and features that are associated with this board. And when we start taking a look at the ViewSonic board, we are going to go over just some of the basic features in this video. We are going to learn how to turn it on, how to turn it off, how to put it into standby mode, also a slew of other features such as multi-touch sensitivity, where you can use all 10 fingers to write. You can get multiple students up here writing on the board at the same time. Very cool and very good use of instructional time. So here we go. We are going to start off with our very first instructional video for the ViewSonic myViewBoard. All right, so the first thing that you need to know for these boards is to test out is to turn it on, right? We can't use anything on the board without turning it on. And there's the power button down here, and the buttons that are associated with the board is we have the power button. We have the home button, which is going to be very useful when you're switching between different screens. We have the back button, just like if you don't have a keyboard, don't have a mouse or anything, you can press the back button. You have a settings button, you have a volume down and volume up button, and then you have 3 USB ports that are on the front. And if you utilize these 3 USB ports, it controls everything on the board, plus the Chrome box that is on the back. It's like a Chromebook, but it's just a Chrome box instead. So there's no screen or anything. This becomes your screen. So just like a desktop computer, it's the Chromebook version of a desktop. So we have a Chrome box attached to it. That's where we're going to do a lot of our work, and a lot of cool lessons and features are capable using the Chrome box, and we'll get to that in a later video. But we have the basic operations down here. We also have some different layouts or different buttons on the side of the board as well. We have the ports that are associated here. We have an HDMI port, so if you want to plug in an additional device that you want to use, like a DVD player, you can plug in a DVD player here. We have multiple USB ports here as well. We have you'll see the other port is the other HDMI is attached to the Chrome box, and that is located on the back of the board. And then you'll see some other HDMIs and touch sensitivity. So without those touch sensitivities, the board will not work. It's just going to be a big TV. So we have those touch capabilities there as well. So if you start by turning on this board, I'm going to go ahead and press the power button once. And we are going to see the board turn on. And we're just going to give it a little bit. There's the ViewSonic logo turning on. And the nice thing is since it's a Chromebook, that we are going to, or Chrome box that we're going to be utilizing most of the time. Once the board is on, utilizing it is a lot like a Chromebook. And one thing to point out is with the ViewSonic myViewBoard, you'll see that the power button, if I press it once, it's going to go into like a sleep mode, which it does do automatically after an hour of not being touched. Okay, so even if you have your computer connected and you're utilizing a mouse or a keyboard or such, you still need to touch the screen at least once within that hour to reset that timer. But you press it once, just a quick click, and it's going to go into standby mode. If you hold the button down, it will power off. So pressing the button once is not going to power off the button. You actually need to hold it down to power off the board. So standby, quick press, and power off, hold the button in. And again, we can change the volume of the board as well if we want to. We can also control that in the actual computer settings when we get in there. Some of the features that show up here, we have a web browser built into the actual board itself. So there are 2 pieces here that I want to share with you. The board itself has a processing unit in it. So it can do a lot of computing power without the Chrome box that's attached to it. We add the Chrome box because it adds usability. So that's why it's there, and we'll get to that later on. We'll do a whole video on how to use the Chrome box and how to get logged in. But what we are going to do is I want to show you some of the features here in myWhiteboard. So I can go to myWhiteboard, and just a side note, and we'll show this as a demo in a later video, is that we have VCast receiver, which allows you and your students, if you have the Epson projectors in your room, you will see that it's a lot like that. You can share your screens with the class, so a student who's sitting in the back of the room can throw their screen right onto the ViewBoard and everybody can see it. So using VCast receiver. And there's a couple different ways that we can do that utilizing myViewBoard Classroom, which we will use again in another video. So here we go. We're going to jump right into the whiteboard, and the whiteboard will show up. Now there is a different whiteboard that I'm going to show you in the next video of using myviewboard.com, the online interface using the Chromebox, which is really neat because since it's online, anybody can start using it. You don't even need to have a myViewBoard. You don't even have to have the physical board itself. If you have a smart board of a different brand, you can log in to myviewboard.com and get started. So I'm going to just show you some of the basic features that we have here. We have the pen tool, a magnetic pen that's attached to the board. These are touch sensitive, so I can draw on the board. Okay. I can also draw with multiple fingers. So what that means is that you can have two students up here writing at the same time. Maybe. There we go. You can have two students writing up here at the same time. You can have multiple students actually writing up here at the same time. And then going to a new page is as simple as pressing the arrow down here on the corner. We can add a new page. We also are able to change a bunch of things. So we can change the color. I can change the size of what I draw. So this is the marker tool. I can erase using the eraser. Whoop. Use that. And that is going to be the other end, just like an eraser on a regular pencil. Okay, so I can erase. I can actually go and open a browser right on the page. I can open up my documents from Google Drive onto the page. And I'll go into more detail here later on, but I wanted to show you the physical layout of the board and what you can do physically with the board. So we are able to bring in pictures, we're able to draw, we're able to bring in shapes as well. So if I were to select the shape, let's go ahead and grab that. There's a circle. I can, oh, no thanks. I can grab another circle, and there I start to have like Venn diagrams. You can instantly create Venn diagrams, and that becomes a real good and useful tool in the classroom. We can also change the background of the page. There's multiple settings to change background. More features of those I will show you next time. But for this video, we are just primarily getting used to turning the board on and starting to play around with opening up the whiteboard and fiddling around with the features that are built into the myViewBoard whiteboard. So what we have again is we have the buttons down here, the power button the whole way over to the volume control buttons. And then we have USB ports where you can actually plug in peripheral devices. Each board comes with a little pad that you can actually utilize on the board, a trackpad, and a keyboard that you can end up typing in passwords and such. You can also add on a keyboard and a mouse if you want to use something different, and you like having the ability to type instead of type on screen. So right now, if I were to add in my text here, a big on-screen keyboard would show up. Okay, I can hide that. There we go. And there is my thank you. All right. So again, thank you for watching this video. We'll be back in the next video with more in-depth look of how to use the Chromebox and really unleash the potential of the interactive smartboard. So thanks for watching. This is Josh Korb from the Edge Innovation Hub, and I'll see you next time.